What's up, everybody? Hey, super excited to be here. This is my first time in Turkey, so I love this place. And thank you so much for your time. Today, I'm going to be sharing a lot of growth tactics and strategies to help you guys go viral on Instagram. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to basically get seen, known, and heard everywhere online. And before we get started, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about my story and where I came from. So I was actually born in South Korea and then adopted by my parents in the States. I grew up in this place called Iowa. Has anyone ever heard of that place? It's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. And growing up for me was hard because, one, I spoke different. I couldn't say the letter R until I was in my 20s. So I had this speech impediment, and I hated going to these speech therapy classes. And I remember my speech therapist saying, Zach, if you quit my classes, no one will be able to understand you. You probably won't amount to much, and you'll never be able to say the letter R in your whole life. And I was 5 years old, and basically literally never talked to anybody. Never thought I'd be doing a conference like this, speaking in front of thousands of people. And so life wasn't looking too good for me, right? I didn't have a lot of friends. I was getting bad grades. And basically, what changed my life is I found dance, and dance kind of became my fire. It kind of became something I was really passionate about, and I kept working and working and practicing, and eventually I started traveling and winning competitions. Eventually I made it on this TV show called So You Think You Can Dance, and that kind of kick-started my career to build up my confidence, teach me a lot about cold outreach, cold emailing, cold calling. And towards the end of my career, I was making around $1,000 an hour just teaching dance workshops at mom and pop studios in the Midwest, in Iowa and Nebraska. And so here I was, living life, traveling, making good money. And then all of a sudden in India, 2016, I fell during my performance, which ended my career. So I broke my back. And I remember the doctor coming in and saying, hey, Zach, I don't think you'll ever be able to dance again. And so here was, me just living life, top of the world, and then boom, all of a sudden everything was taken away from me. And I became very depressed and sad, and I didn't know what I was going to do because I had no plan B. And the same kid who got me into dancing called me up one day and was like, Zach, listen, I know you're going through some hard times. I know you're depressed, but you got to get in on this Instagram thing. And so he was like, me and my brother are making a ton of money on Instagram. You got to get in on this. And so with the last $10,000 I had to my name, because I didn't have insurance, I thought I was invincible, I sent him a check and bought 10% of a 400,000 follower Instagram account. And it was in the comedy and meme space. And so basically, we grew up-and-coming celebrities and comedians like Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, and all these people with our comedy account. And so we were growing people thousands of followers per day, which back in the day, this was early 2016, you could do that just through shout-outs. And so we kind of rinsed and repeated the process and created our own Instagram network and started acquiring more accounts and in the luxury, travel, health, beauty space. And fast forward today, guys, we have a 220 million network on Instagram, social media. We're working with some of the biggest thought leaders, names in the space, Grant Cardone, Robert Kiyosaki, Russell Brunson. All of these guys are our clients now. So life has really changed. And what I'm excited to teach you guys today is, if you think about it, if you think of those names, all great entrepreneurs, all great CEOs have great personal brands. So your personal brand is one of the most valuable things you can work on. It'll catapult you into magnificent places. And so the whole goal here today is to help you guys get seen, known, and heard everywhere online. I'm going to be sharing some strategies on Instagram. And also at the end, I'm going to be teaching you guys how I travel the world for free. So who here loves luxurious hotels? Who here loves to travel? Yeah, me too. So I'm going to be breaking down all of those strategies on how I got over 800 nights for free at some of the world's most luxurious hotels, some hotels costing $30,000, $50,000 a night. And you're thinking, well, cool. It's cool to travel for free, but how does this apply to me and my business? I'm going to be teaching you how to basically leverage other people's networks, taproot into their networks and audiences, so that you can get them to promote your products for free as well. So, enough about me. Actually, yeah, this was at Grant Cardone's conference, and he's a cool dude, actually, like when you meet him in person. And one of the things I really liked what he said is, it doesn't matter how many people you know, what matters is who knows you. So I'm going to be teaching you guys how to basically do that on Instagram today. All right, so as you can see, some of our accounts are going viral, millions of impressions, reach. And the whole goal is that I want to teach you guys how to grow and monetize your Instagrams to 30,000 followers plus in a month. So that is still possible, and we actually do that for a lot of our clients as well. So these are the main points that I want to teach you. Okay, so I'm going to be basically breaking down some different growth hacks and strategies that are organic, semi-organic. I'm going to be teaching you guys just how you can do more lead gen and monetization on Instagram. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So as I told you before, there's a big opportunity here, right? Just with all the crazy changes going on. Instagram is still releasing out some new features, right? So everybody right now is growing with Reels and basically trending in popular songs and adding them onto their Reels. Like, that's one of the main ways that people are growing nowadays. So there's still a big opportunity as far as like organic and semi-organic Instagram growth. These are just different numbers, but there's over 1 billion active users on Instagram. Over half of the brands are using Instagram to promote and sell their products. There's, I think, over 600,000 people actively using Instagram stories every single day. So there's a lot of people still on this platform. And basically, I want to teach you guys how to grow Instagram 2022. So these are just a lot of different numbers. But what I really want to get into is how you can stand out from the competition, how you can rank for different keywords. So think of like Instagram, sort of like Google, right? It's all about getting on the first page. So it's all about ranking for different keywords related to your industry and your products. So we found a really cool trick that still really works today. This is one of my accounts. It's called Glamour Ideal, and it's all about makeup, beauty, beauty tutorials, hacks. And what's cool here is you can actually rank for different keywords. So we post all about glamour and makeup and beauty. And so when people are searching those keywords on Instagram, our accounts are popping up first to the first page, which drives a lot of traffic and which helps the page grow. Here's one of my accounts, luxury hotels. And we're ranking for all of these different travel words as well. So the key here is to actually put keywords that you want to rank for in your name section. So when you edit your profile, you can type 2 to 3 different keywords that are related to your page. And in the name section, over time, you'll start to rank towards the top, right? So once you're using the right hashtags and the engagement groups, and you're posting good viral content that hits the Explore page, you're going to be able to start to rank on the first and second page for these different keywords, which is super powerful. The next thing that I want to talk about are just ways that we generate leads and sales on Instagram. So luxury hotels is like a repost account. So basically, essentially, all we're doing is reposting other people's content, giving them credit, tagging them in the picture in the video, and making it go viral with the right hashtags, engagement groups, and our network. And so that's how we're kind of growing these repost pages. So I really recommend to create a repost page or a hub page around your products, right? So it could be fitness page, beauty page, it could be travel. List goes on and on. But I recommend that you start one of these pages because it's easier to grow than just posting original content can be hard. Like really creating like viral content is difficult. So I suggest going onto the Explore page, seeing what's trending, seeing what posts hit the top hashtags, and kind of reposting that content onto your hub page, giving those people credit, of course, will help you grow your page a lot faster. And so this page is all about like travel. And so I actually have like a travel mastermind. It's called MaldivesMastermind.com. So we're always like trying to get destination influencers into our page, following the page, consuming our content, and then getting into our funnel. So sometimes I switch it up. I put different calls to actions in my link in bio. So Instagram allows you to put one link. And so sometimes I put my Forbes article, which is all about how millennials use Instagram to travel the world for free. And what was cool is I became friends with the contributor, and she allowed me to put like a free guide, so a free lead magnet. So at the end of the article, if you want to learn more, click this free guide, and then boom, brings them to my Facebook chatbot, and then everything else is automated, right? It's like, hey, I see that you want the free guide. What's the best email? Boom, they type their email in. Okay, check your inbox, it's on the way. And then I'm like, by the way, if you really want to learn more and learn some of the best hacks and secrets, you got to join our Facebook group. And so I get about 30 to 40 people every single day just opting in with this simple funnel. And so this is one of the ways that we use Instagram and to generate more leads for my mastermind and also for my company. And Instagram chatbots, everybody's using those nowadays to grow their businesses and sell their products. Next, let's talk a little bit about content. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what you should post on your personal brands. And I think now the type of content that's going super viral and gets a lot of growth is when you speak from the heart, right? Talk about your pains and gains. Talk about a time where maybe you lost your biggest deal or overcame a sickness, overcame addiction. This is a prompt list that I created that works not only well for Instagram, but all platforms, LinkedIn. And so I think when you talk about here's what happened, here's what I learned, this is how I grew from it, this type of content is doing really well on social media. Here's another just prompt list, right? So thinking about hiring your first employee, getting fired from your, maybe fired from a job, having a bad boss, having a bad employee. So we all have these different stories that we can talk about. And I think when you're open, honest, and vulnerable with them, it really creates a lot of trust on social media, because you can really just show people what you want to show or show them nothing at all. But I think when you're more open and authentic and real, it really people really resonate with that. Right? So yeah, these are just different kind of hooks, right? So usually on Instagram and social media, people are just scrolling and moving and checking out other people's pages. So you really have to capture their attention and pique their interest in the first few seconds. So you want them to click more, which creates likes and views, and we want them to like more of your content and hit that follow button. So these are just different hooks and ways that we start some of our personal content. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about are hashtags. So there's a lot of misinformation about hashtags. Before, a lot of people were thinking let's put the maximum. Let's use 30, 60 hashtags on a post. Nowadays, we're finding the less, the better. So use around maybe 3 to 4 different hashtags on your post will help you get the most reach and exposure. So e-commerce has over 12 million posts, so that's a really big hashtag. If you're just starting out and you only have a few hundred followers, a couple thousand followers, you really want to use hashtags that have smaller number of posts on them. So I recommend starting big, narrowing down. So as you can see, as you scroll down, you're going to find hashtags that have maybe 50 to 100,000 posts on them, 100 to 200,000 posts on them, and so on. So create multiple sets of hashtags rotate them throughout the week to see which ones perform the best and give you the best results. But here's just different hashtags, right? And you want to try to use a bunch of different hashtags related to like your page, types of content you post, your products, and see which ones perform the best by rotating the hashtag set throughout the month. All right. Step number 4, engagement groups. So you might have heard about these engagement groups or comment pods, like groups, comment groups. You might see a lot of these like famous celebrities and these really big pages get a lot of these comments. Now, the whole purpose of the engagement groups is to just help boost your content onto the Explore page, the home page that everybody's looking at. So as soon as you open up your Instagram, you see like content and people based off the people you follow, the content that you like. Instagram is basically curating your feed, and so the whole goal is to hit the top of the Explore page. And one of the ways that you do that is with engagement groups. So engagement groups are basically DM groups. So it's called a direct message group. It's like you and 14 other people inside each group, and you're all liking and commenting on each other's posts throughout the day. And when you get enough likes and comments in a short window of time, like 15 minutes to an hour, and several times throughout the day, Instagram likes that, and it gives basically you more bonus points and gives you your content more viral ability, more reach, more likes, more exposure. And so we're in like hundreds of these, right? So you basically want to get likes and comments from bigger accounts than yours. So when you get, like a bunch of likes and comments from accounts that are 50,000, 100,000, up to 1 million followers plus, it kind of like holds more weight. So when one of those accounts engages with your post and you get, like 50 to 100 of these accounts to do that, it's going to help your post reach more people. And one of the cool ways and ways that I got into a bunch of these groups when I first started was I actually just messaged and DM'd a bunch of big accounts, and I was like, how much would you charge to get me into an engagement group? Like, kind of new to Instagram, but I hear that word on the street is everybody's using engagement groups to grow, get more reach. So I just basically made an offer, and I said, hey, I'll pay you, $5, $10 for each engagement group you could get me into. And what I realized is that a lot of these big pages were run by kids, like 15, 16, 17 years old, teenagers. And they just went crazy, and all of a sudden, I sent them $50, $100, $200, and I was in hundreds of these groups. And so this strategy still works today. Try to reach out to other pages that are in your niche and that are doing these repost type pages and like fitness and beauty, and reach out to them and ask them how much they charge. And you'd be surprised, a lot of them will still let you into their networks, and that's kind of how I created my network. So these engagement groups are kind of like a semi-organic tactic and strategy that we use to grow pages, and it still works today. So let me see here. The next thing that I want to talk about are just influencers, and my whole strategy of just travel hacking, growth hacking, and how I connect with a lot of these different people. Because a lot of people are how do you get Russell Brunson or work with famous celebrities like this, or Robert Kiyosaki as clients? And really, it's just finding a creative way to get your foot in the door, to add maximum value from the start. Because you got to think, a lot of these celebrities, a lot of these famous entrepreneurs have been burned, scammed, screwed over. People have promised them things, they didn't deliver, and they're afraid to just spend money again. And you'll notice that a lot of these celebrities and influencers will charge crazy, crazy amounts, right? $200,000 for a post, or $50,000 for a post. So instead of just putting all of your money and eggs in one basket, you kind of want to get an army of influencers. So micro, nano size, people with around 5,000, 10,000 followers, people that are more like macro level between 50 to 100,000 followers, and so on. And so you want to get a whole army of these influencers, to create content, to promote your products, and you want to do that with least amount of money out of pocket. And so I found a pretty cool way to do that, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, let me just talk about like Jay Park and all these people. So how we started working with Beyonce and Jay-Z and all these crazy people was just doing outreach, right? We just messaged these people. We're like, hey, we can grow your CEO or grow your DJ to over 100,000 followers. We'll do it for free. In exchange for doing your growth for free, then we'd like to, have your celebrities promote some of our products for free. And so basically by doing that growth for over a year for free, allowed us to tap into their network, go to all of their concerts with tens of thousands of people, build a relationship with them, and then instead of charging us like, $1 million or whatever for an A-lister celebrity to post, they were starting to do posts and promos for free. So I always say, like, get really creative in how you approach celebrities and influencers, because of course all of them want to make money, but you can actually be really smart in your negotiation tactics to get them to promote your stuff with very little money out of pocket. And let's just talk about that first, because with the whole travel hacking thing, like, you're thinking like, well, Zach, I'm just starting out. Like, I don't have millions of followers like you. I don't have, just like crazy amounts of money to spend on influencers and celebrities. Like, what do I do if I'm just getting started? And so what I did, guys, when I didn't have a lot of followers and I had, just like 20,000 followers, as I was creating these engagement groups and paying to get inside these networks, I also asked them, hey, how much do you charge for a promo post on your wall, like your main feed? And some of these accounts with like hundreds of thousands, millions of followers on them were just charging like $50, $100 per post. So you kind of get what I'm getting at is I made a list of all these really big accounts that were in the travel space, like with 1 million followers, 500,000 followers, 200,000 followers. And I said, hey, how much do you charge for a post? They're only charging $50 to $100. So even though I didn't have, at that time, a lot of followers myself, I could leverage their networks simply by just paying them what they wanted to be paid. And that's kind of how I got over 800 nights for free at some of the world's most luxurious hotels, like in the Maldives and all over the world, right? Like, they give me, best available suite, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the whole works. And I'm going to kind of break down the different strategies that I used to travel hack, because I think you guys will find it really cool and helpful as you're trying to work with different influencers, because they all love to travel for free, and they all love like amazing vacations. So if you can basically use a big travel account, pay them like $50 to $100, approach this A-lister celebrity, say, hey, I got you a free trip to the Maldives, and all you had to do was pay, $50, $100 to do that using these strategies I'm about to teach you. And then in exchange, like, let's say this A-lister has, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million followers. So instead of paying their normal price, which is, starting at 50,000, 200K plus per post, you could just simply get them a free vacation, and in exchange, get them to promote your products for, basically nothing. And so this was Niva Johnny, and this was a really awesome hotel in the Maldives. But basically, all I say, guys, in my email is, like, introduce myself. I say, hey, I'm Zach. I'm Instagram influencer, entrepreneur, founder of Assistagram. In exchange for your best available suite, breakfast, lunch, and dinner would be nice. Spa treatments would be amazing. unlimited alcohol would be awesome. Like, we can do the following, right? And then I basically do my offer, my value stack, and it's like 2 positive Instagram posts per day, stories on 3 to 5 stories on each account. We'll do positive reviews on Facebook, TripAdvisor. Doesn't cost anything to do that and build up your status. We'll give you all rights to content. So even if you're not like a content creator, you can actually hire somebody locally. Like, it depending where you go, but in Asia, like Thailand, Bali, Maldives, you can find somebody like $25, $50 an hour. You give them all rights to the content, and basically that's my stack, and that's how I've traveled the world for free, and that's how you guys can leverage these other big pages to add value to a celebrity that you want to work with that's just out of your budget. So I just encourage you guys to get really creative on like how you approach influencers and celebrities and get them to promote stuff. Try to lead with value. Try to use this travel hacking strategy where it's like you're giving them something amazing, like an awesome vacation, and then in exchange, you're like totally differentiating yourself from everybody else that's knocking on their door, just wanting them to get 5-10% of sales, right, if they post, right? So they're probably happy to do that, but try to do this strategy first, and I think it's going to make your life's a lot easier when you're trying to work with celebrities and influencers. So that's all I had. I wanted to open it up to Q&A. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Hands together for Zach.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions? Instagram growth. Who wants to grow their Instagram today and did not get their question answered today by Zach? Okay, here we go. Let's get a microphone down here. Oh, we got one back there.
Hi,
Okay.
Zach. Hi.
Hey.
Maor, big fan. Me and my girlfriend and also my wife, we look at your Instagram. We're very jealous because you get to travel the world and stuff. And I'm just really curious on how you started it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of cool hacks and ways that you can get really big accounts for a fraction of the price. And so as I was sharing in the beginning of my story, I actually bought a lot of these Instagram accounts from different people and kids in the Instagram world. And so I'd make them an offer, and I'd be like, hey, this is a good-looking page. I'll give you $3,000 for your 100,000 follower account. And you'd be surprised if you just make somebody an offer, and they really want to sell it or just need the money for something else, they'll sell it. And so I just started paying all of these account owners for their pages, and that's kind of how I got my start. And then after we acquired all of these pages, we just started our own network, and we used those pages to grow our other new pages. So that's kind of how it all started, and yeah.
Great question. Right here in the front, can we get a microphone down here, please? We could probably hear you, but everybody needs to hear you. Oh, hold on one sec.
First of all, Zach, congratulations for all that wonderful work you did so far. It would be awesome if I could do it all by myself, just by following your advice. But what I want to ask is very simple. How can I become a client? And what is the budget to work with you?
Yeah, well, we'd love to work with you, work with any of you guys that are interested in just growing their Instagrams and personal brands. You could set up a call with my company, Assistagram, or if you could just go on Instagram at Luxury Hotels and you type start, that'll kind of bring you into our funnel, and you can set up a call, strategy session, figure out your goals and needs, and then, yeah, basically get started. But as far as pricing goes, we have, so yeah, Russell Brunson, Grant Cardone, all these guys, I mean, that's kind of a different level. They need more things, but depending on your goals and needs, we have programs that are, around like 2,500 a month. So, yep. If you want to schedule a call, we'd be happy to talk to you.
Right here in the front.
All right, so Zach, it's really nice to meet you. I haven't known you before, but now I do. I want to ask about the hashtags. So you said use lesser hashtags with lesser counts. So for that, like, is it for the algorithm to use it, or is it for the for the account to be seen? Because most of the hashtags are not actually searched anymore, but is it for the algorithm?
Yeah. So it's mainly, so the algorithms are becoming super smart, right? Like, we all know the days of like Instagram automation and when people were doing the follow unfollow and using bots. Well, Instagram's algorithms are so smart that if you're doing any of that kind of stuff, your account's going to get, compromised and deleted and shut down. So yeah, you're right. It is actually more for to be in favor of the algorithm, because when you're trying too hard and using too many hashtags and you're using 30, 60 hashtags on a post, Instagram's like, this guy's trying too hard, and basically docks you points. So there's actually like a goodness score on your Instagram account based off of these little actions that you do or don't do every single day. Like, continuing like changing your profile name or deleting pictures. It's better to archive your pictures instead of deleting. It's better to like content that's like in your industry and your niche, not random followers. So yeah, it's actually both, right? Like less is better. Like you can still rank for these different hashtags if you're getting enough traffic from these engagement groups, but it's also more friendly for the algorithms. And
for the engagement groups, how did you find those groups? Can you just like go a little bit more on that part, if that's possible?
Yeah, so as far as like finding these engagement groups and these networks, I recommend that you message like, a really big page that has like 100,000, 200,000 followers on it. DM them, send them an email, say, hey, I'm looking to get into some engagement groups. I see that you're in a bunch of these groups. Like I see people, all these accounts liking and commenting on your posts. Like, I'd be willing to pay you money to get inside your network. And I think it's kind of like a numbers game, but the more people that you message, the more, like, I guess, money that you can give them, depending on like your negotiation skills, will help you get into some of these networks and groups. But I still pay like around $5 to $20 for each engagement group, even to this day. So it still works.
Let's do 3 more questions. We got 1, 2, and 3 in the front, okay? And if anybody wants to get in touch with Zach after this, can they slide into your DM, Zach, if they didn't get the question answered today?
Yeah,
All right.
DM me. I would love to connect.
Firstly,
Am I the
session
first?
was amazing.
Sorry, let's go with front row first, Piyush. Go
So
for
the
it.
session was amazing. I took a lot of notes. My phone is full of notes. And I have 3 questions. Number 1, as you said about the repost. So won't there be any copyright issue if we are reposting some reels with some music and songs?
So you gotta be a little bit more careful nowadays as far as like reposts go. So we only try to like repost when we actually know like the creator, and a lot of the times my team goes ahead and like emails them, DMs them to make sure it's okay. But if you have let's say that you buy an account that has 50 to 100,000 followers on it, and you're reposting somebody else's content, like a creator that's smaller than you, they'll be so happy, right, that you're reposting them and giving them credit so that they can get more exposure on your page. But just be a little bit careful, just message them, make sure that it's okay, and always give them credit.
One question regarding this. Let's say I don't want to repost. Let's say my niche is business, and I create a business page, and I chop out some podcast from Gary Vee's podcast, Grant Cardone, and create an amazing reels out of those, like a fan page. Is it legal, or it will have some copyright issues?
Yeah, it gets a little bit complicated, right? But as long as you're again, trying to give them credit and make them look cool and
Yeah.
make them,
Like a fan page.
yeah, on a fan page, I would say that it's okay. And basically, even taking some of their inspirational quotes, motivational quotes, and then also like reposting them, I think is okay as well. Again, just be a little bit careful, but
Okay,
yeah.
great. Second question is regarding performance marketing. I run a performance marketing agency. So can we link this Instagram pages to a Facebook page and use
Yeah.
it as an advertiser account?
Yeah,
Like run
sure.
ads on them?
Yeah, and one of the things, the other things that we try to do with all of our influencers that we work with is we try to gain access to their, accounts so that we can run ads there as well. That's another thing that you guys want to do as well when you're trying to work with influencers. It's not only get them to create amazing content, but get them to promote as well.
Okay, awesome. Last question regarding engagement group. Is it allowed to create engagement group now in 2022? Like Instagram favors that things?
Yeah, it's still okay, perfectly okay. So you want to actually use these engagement groups to get more exposure and reach on your content. So I would consider them more like semi-organic, right? Like you're gonna have to like hire a VA and make sure that they're active all day, just liking and commenting on people's accounts. But this still really works and is really effective.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, let's go third row here, and then one last one over here in the front row.
Hi, Zach. This is Ahmed Khalifa. I want to ask you regarding the hashtags. So you mentioned that the hashtags, if we use like 30 hashtags or above, you cannot use above 30 anyway. But if we use 30 hashtags, it's gonna like reflect negatively on our account. But the fact here that the Instagram creator account mentioned that if you use more than 5 hashtags, it's not good. So it's better. Even Adam Museri, he like mentioned like this: 3 hashtags is enough, or 5, it's enough for your account. But for me, like I'm a like an Instagram marketing specialist. I'm an influencer. I have almost like more than 500,000 on my social media, and I'm using 30 hashtags. It's really good. I reach more than 100,000 people from my 30 hashtags strategy. So what is the fact here? Why, like for example, Adam Museri or the creator account are mentioning that it's from 3 to 5. And for us, as people, we are using 30 and it's working.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on a number of factors, right? Like you got to figure out like what works best for you and your audience and your account. We just found that it's best like for our accounts, and we're seeing more traction by using less. And I mean, in some of these accounts, like we've bought, right? So we're kind of like reviving them, and like maybe some of these accounts that we bought from another person on Instagram had been damaged. They were using a bunch of automation and doing a bunch of follow and doing a lot of bad things on their Instagram that Instagram didn't like. And so for those accounts that are wanting to get revived and to that are half dead, haven't been inactive for like 6 months, we're finding that it's better to use less. But like all things goes, like sometimes less can be better, sometimes a little bit more can be better. It just depends on your account and your audience. And people always ask, like, how many hashtags should I use? How many times a day should I, post? How many engagement groups? I mean, there's no really like any magic number. It really just depends on your account and what works best for that. So you kind of have to just figure that out through trial and error.
Okay, guys, for the sake of time, we have to end the Q&A at this point here. But again, you can reach out to Zach, get into his DMs, and ask questions, okay? Sorry, we have to end the Q&A at this point, okay? Thank you, Zach. Everybody put their hands
Thank you,
together for
guys.
Zach Benson.